You're listening to Just Believe, sponsored by Just Believe Recovery Centers, with your host, Brenda Swift, as she discusses all aspects of addiction, recovery, and sober living. And now, your host of Just Believe, Brenda Swift.
Hi, welcome to Just Believe Radio. This is Brenda, your host, and we are a talk show discussing addiction, recovery, and all of the controversy surrounding it. We are on 900 AM, the Talk of the Palm Beaches, Monday through Saturday, and you can reach our hotline for anyone looking for help at 877-309-3635. That's 877-309-3635. And we do have a guest today that I'm very excited to speak with and bring his information to everyone that's considering recovery as well as those that are in recovery. We have John Hollis with Rockers in Recovery on the line. Welcome, John.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on the air with you.
Thank you for joining us. I know you have a very busy schedule. I was looking at all the different things that you're handling at the moment. You do have a big event coming up that we wanted to let everybody know about, and that's on February 14th. Is that right?
Yeah, actually, we got a bunch of stuff coming up. That event that you happen to be talking about is the Rockers in Recovery Music Festival. It's a music and art festival, and it's the 7th anniversary, actually, of our founding of Rockers in Recovery. We were founded 7 years ago. It's also the 5th year anniversary of our very first concert back in February 12th of 2011. Since then, we've gone on to actually do 20 concert productions nationwide. And, the community, that's over the last 5 years through all of the communities across the United States. It's been a really cool kind of thing that ended up happening and all came together. We bring, it's a real simple message that we bring to people. It's addiction awareness and prevention through rock and roll. And the attendees love it. And, we definitely make it a very, very cool day for everybody. The event is a private event, but it is open for people that are in recovery, family members who are in recovery, or supporters of a recovery movement. And, we invite people that want to know more. This is about education. It's about getting out there and being able to talk with people and find out more, information on what's happening. We're going to have Tom Cordair, who is the senior advisor to SAMHSA. He's going to be there emceeing. We're also going to have Rick and Susan Riccardi from the Fellowship Living Foundation. We also are bringing in Christine Harper. She is the member of the Association for Recovery Schools. John Lehman from FAR, which is the Florida Association of Recovery Residents. Young people in recovery, Brittany's going to be with us speaking. Steered Straight, the Academy for Addiction Professionals is going to be talking about how you can, further your education after you get clean. It's going to be a cool day. And then we have, at this point, David Moneta is coming down to speak. And we got a cool day of music also. We got 10 bands, and we have the Rockers in Recovery band and special guests. We have Mark Stein from the Vanilla Fudge, who's going to be playing with the band. Ben Smith from Heart, Jeff Osley from Heart. We have David Usikian of the Hooters, Colin McGinnis from Axl Rose. Tommy Conwell from Tommy Conwell and the Young Rumblers. They're the special guests. And, the next thing that's going to be kind of cool is we have the core bands, by the way, and that is Elliot Jacobs from the Capris, Greg Deppie from Bruce Springsteen, John Gianolis, who is Earl Slick and Felix Cavalier's drummer, and Jeff Gantz, who was, rest in peace, both Johnny Winter and Lou Reed's bass player for years. So they're the core band, and then the guests are going to come out and play with the core band. And it's all being headed up by our musical director, who is a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member from the Capris, Lou Esposito.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. I know that one of the things that we talk about here is what happens after you do get clean and sober. And one of the big things that I ran into over and over again trying to actually embark on stopping was wondering what was I going to do after I got clean and sober. You know, if everything I did was surrounded by alcohol and drugs. To be able to go to a concert and enjoy yourself, and music was such a big part of my recovery that it was, you know, just a phenomenal thing to find all the things you're offering right now.
Mm-hmm. And I think one of the cool things, well, we make it free for everybody, so it is a free event, you know, because we don't want to alienate anybody, you know, because they can't, you know, come up with $20 to get in the gate. We want to make sure that everybody hears the message. The message of, hey, listen, you know, 300, you know, young people. We've had, you know, anywhere from 2,200 to 2,500 people show up at our events. At one year, we even had 3,000 at one of our events. I mean, it was incredible. But, you know, the thing that, and here's the thing that was really cool. At one of them, there was 300 young people, all arm in arm, swaying back and forth to the music. I mean, the most important thing, in my opinion, is that when somebody's getting clean or getting sober, and they have that epiphany, like, oh, wow, this is a God moment, or a, you know, that's what I call it. I don't want to alienate anybody, but you have a moment where, wow, you know something? This is a cool thing. You know, recovery can be fun, and you have that moment where you're actually at one with your recovery. That's what happens, you know what I mean? And it's kind of, you know, it's kind of cool to watch it happen.
Absolutely, and music is such a phenomenal way to go about that, and it gives us a way of processing things. I worked with a music therapist at Just Believe, and she was able to bring things out in clients that they didn't even realize that they were dealing with, and give them a way to keep themselves centered. So that's been, like I said, a big part of my recovery. We are at Just Believe Radio. I am your host, Brenda, and I have on the line John Hollis with Rockers in Recovery, giving us some information on all the amazing things that are available in recovery now. I've been sober since 96, and we didn't have anything like your organization at that time. So going to the first concert sober and all of that kind of thing was pretty intimidating. What actually, I listened to your history this morning. Can you share a little bit about what sparked the idea for Rockers in Recovery?
I mean, I was, you know, a radio show host in South Florida for years, and I was on the air for 19 hours a week, 7 days a week. And through that process, I was doing an interview, and after the interview, I had somebody call from Seattle, Washington that was listening on the streamer and said, hey, by the way, what was the name of that rocker in recovery? So I ran home and put it into the search engines, and the only thing that came up was a rocking chair, a refurbished rocking chair. So I figured, and there was nothing else. I put in recovery, I put in rockers in recovery, I put in every variation, nothing came up. So, you know, we kind of forged our way forward. And, you know, since then, you know, there's a bunch of in recovery stuff, you know, Heroes in Recovery, this one in recovery, that one in recovery. But, it, you know, it's kind of cool because you're able to, you know, start building this mission of letting people know that the stigma of addiction needs to be looked at. And there's a lot of people out there that have the stigma about addiction. You know, there are people that walk around today that are doctors, lawyers, literally Indian chiefs. I mean, people that are walking around today that are in long-term recovery, and they have a great life. All because, you know, they put down the drink or they put down a substance that wasn't, you know, working for them. May that be that they had spending issues. May it be that addiction has many heads. You know, it isn't just about, you know, the drug addict and the alcoholic. There's people out there with gambling issues. There's people out there with love and sex addiction. There's people out there with spending issues. I mean, food. I mean, listen, if you know, there's a lot of food issues out there. So, you know, when you start looking at all of the addictions, that's why we make it for all people in recovery. People that are recovering from cancer. It's amazing how many people out there are recovering from cancer today that, literally have their own support systems. They're invited. If you're in recovery, come and visit us. Come hang out with us. Get more information.
That's so many different areas of addiction that you talk about. That's one of the things that we try to approach on the show here as well, is that state of mind of just doing anything to access to stay out of our own head and not process our feelings. And we don't know how to do that when we first start in recovery. One of the things I also did was looked over your website, and you have just a phenomenal amount of resources for people that are in recovery, and faces and voices of recovery, young people in recovery, as you mentioned, Steered Straight. How did all of this come together for you? Was this any particular area you started in, and it all escalated as you went along to these?
Well, we start, you got to remember this is a 7-year process.
Of course.
So 7 years ago, the first platform that I built was, of course, the radio platform. And then all off of that came, of course, all the .coms and .orgs, rockersandrecovery.com, rockersandrecovery.org, all of that information, started to be built. And, when you start building that information, it tends to grow, and you start adding, and you start affiliating, and you start working on your affiliations, and making sure that your affiliations are like-minded. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that have their own agendas, and they want to get involved with things because it's all about their agenda. What we look for are people that want to carry the message of education and addiction awareness, to help newcomers that are in recovery, or a family member that's seeking out information in recovery, for recovery. So, there's, or people that just support the recovery mission. It's the days are over, in my opinion, of singing to the choir. It's real easy for me to stand in front of 10 people and tell them how great recovery is if they're all in recovery.
Of course.
How about the people that are sitting outside that loop that have never don't really even know? They might have heard it. They probably heard it on the TV about recovery day, but they don't really know the nuts and bolts of it. And we, as a recovery community, need to make sure that people can experience and have more information available to them, because people are still dying.
Absolutely. And we are going to take a quick break. We will be back after the break to talk to John, and we also have another guest on the line that'll be joining us. We'll be right back.
At Just Believe Recovery Center, their highly trained staff has a combined 50 years in recovery and is certified to help with each client's individual needs. The program at Just Believe Recovery Center brings those suffering from addiction and their families the understanding needed to begin healing from the devastation and begin the path to a new and fulfilling life in recovery. The staff understands what addiction has done to your family and that no one chooses to become sick. At Just Believe Recovery Center, with a therapeutic process and a caring staff that understands addiction, their clients can choose to become well. Go to justbelieveradio.com for more details and call their 24-hour hotline today, 877-309-3635. That's 877-309-3635 for caring guidance and an end to the pain of addiction now. Just believe there is another chance and call 877-309-3635 today.
Welcome back to Just Believe, sponsored by Just Believe Recovery Centers, with your host, Brenda Swift, as she discusses all aspects of addiction, recovery, and sober living. Now, back to your host, Brenda Swift.
Welcome back to Just Believe Radio. I am your host, Brenda, and I have two guests on the line today. John is with Rockers in Recovery, and he has asked Stephanie to join us because she's doing some wonderful work in the area as well. John?
Yeah, Stephanie is from All About Recovery, which is an organization that really helps the recovery community with housing and other things, IOP and some other stuff that she does, which is really, instrumental in helping the community. But one of the things that's going to happen is we have the Rockers in Recovery Network, And part of the network is we have everybody that really supports the Rockers in Recovery nonprofit are all part of the Rockers in Recovery network, Addiction Help Network. And you guys, of course, Just Believe is part of that network, and Stacy and lots of other folks are all part of that network. So what we're doing is we're doing a meet and greet for the festival up there on February 7th. And Steph, give a little bit more information about that and what you're doing and how it's happening.
Absolutely. Okay, well, our meet and greet is a fun event intended to be entertainment as well as an opportunity for professionals in the field from near and far to become part of that network and share what it is they do in their programs. It's a laid-back event. One of the things I said on my invite was that loosen your ties and let down your hair, because all too often we spend time at some of these events that are very serious and so I want to make sure that, while we're doing this networking and we all work really hard, that we're going to have a good time sharing information. And I can't say enough about becoming part of the Rockers in Recovery Network, because we really, if I have a question, it's really great. I call John, and even if I haven't had the introduction yet to someone in that network, I know that person, and I'm probably on the phone with them in the next 5 minutes. So I'm really grateful to John and Lori of Rockers in Recovery. It's been a wonderful journey. I only joined last year. And just a little information, you can find us on the internet at allaboutrecoveryinc.com, and reach out to me that way through Facebook, and I will invite you if you're interested. It's February 7th from 6 to 9 p.m. It is in Royal Palm Beach. And that's
why don't you give the address,
kind of a wrap for that. I mean, there's always lots of stuff to talk about when I'm on the phone with John.
What's the address of that? Because I can't remember.
It's 400 Civic Center Way, Royal Palm Beach, 33411.
And the cool thing is that we're putting on another meet and greet here in the South Florida area in Pompano Beach at the Recovery Foundation, and that's going to be Wednesday the 11th. So we have one meet and greet in Palm Beach County, one meet and greet in Broward County, and then we have the concert on the 14th. So, a lot of this, you can go to rockersinrecovery.org, or you can go to rockersinrecovery.com and find out a lot of information, or you can call us at 877-799-8773, and we can answer any questions. But it's going to be a great rock and roll show. Just Believe. I want to thank you guys. I want to thank Frank. I mean, Frank really stepped up to the plate. You guys made a $5,000 contribution to this thing. I want to thank you personally for the help that Just Believe put into making this festival possible, along with Stephanie and the rest of the folks that, have, made it possible, like Lyle, from the Shores. These guys just really stepped up to the plate and wanted to, help educate. And I want to thank you guys personally.
Know that our owner, Cindy Bellino, is all about getting people into active recovery and making sure that they find, value in what they're doing, and everything that you're putting together and offer is just so important to being involved in the recovery community. We are at Just Believe Radio. This is Brenda, your host, and I have John Hollis and Stephanie on the line talking about the different events that are upcoming for the Rockers and Recovery Music Festival on February 14th. Now, we were actually, you had mentioned, Stephanie, that the event you have is at in Royal Palm Beach. That's 400 Civic Center, February 7th, 6 to 9. That's correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And then where is...
It's an open invitation to anyone who is a professional in recovery or supporters of recovery. We're going to have John Lehman from FAR is our keynote speaker.
John's wonderful.
Ali Cerviano from Fresh Start Magazine is one of the speakers. John has invited a Marchman Act lawyer, and John, not looking at his name.
Robert Gluck, the Marchman Act attorney, will be there.
Defer that to John.
And we also have,
obviously the Rockers of Recovery and Lou Esposito, the musical director, will be there doing an unplugged session, and we hope to, educate the public and some others in reference to our program. And I always am, singing the praises of Rocker and Recovery.
And what is All About Recovery is working with what type of area?
We are an intensive outpatient program, and what makes us a little different is that we are age and gender specific groups.
Great.
We
needed.
find that a young man who's 20 years old is not going to have the same issues as a 50-year-old man. And our sister company, the residents, AAR residents, also, they are housed that way as well. So that's kind of what we specialize in, giving them that separation so that they can deal with issues that are pertinent to them.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. No, we are towards the end of the show here. I did want to mention that there are differences between the rockersandrecovery.org and .com, if I was following it correctly. They do have, John, the opportunity to sign up for Recovery Unplugged on one of the sites.
And .com site is for members only, and that's people that are part of the network. So if you join the network and you want to support what Rockers and Recovery is doing through the nonprofit, you sign up through .com, and you're spending it's $5,000 for 1 year to join, and you get a full page ad in the magazine that goes out 4 times a year. You also get to be a member of the network, which, as Stephanie will tell you, you're always networking back and forth. If you have situations you can't deal with one person, you can send them to somebody else in the network that would be able to deal with them. So there's always that going on behind the scenes, but you also get a lot of online exposure through Facebook and all the social medias and on the website and all that stuff. So it's kind of a cool way that we put it together. And that's really under Rockers and Recovery Radio and Productions. And we built it under that because that's a for-profit organization. And then the nonprofit is Rockers and Recovery, Inc. So if you join the for-profit, you're really funding the nonprofit.
Okay, and we've got about a minute left. Would you both like to mention the times and dates of both of your events so everybody can write them down in case they missed it?
Absolutely. And
ladies
the
before
meet and
gentlemen.
greet at All About Recovery is February 7th from 6 to 9 p.m. If you are interested in attending, the 1-800 number is 888-712-8480, and I'll be taking that call for you.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. And
Rockers and Recovery Music Fest is at C.D. Smith Park, which is 900 Flamingo Road, and that would be Pembroke Pines. Sorry about that, Pembroke Pines, Florida. And of course, you can Google that. Also, you can call us at 877-799-8773. It starts at noontime and goes until 11 p.m. It's 7 speakers, 10 bands, plus a Rockers and Recovery All-Star Band with a bunch of people coming from all over the country to play at the event.
Oh, it sounds wonderful. I'm really excited about it. And for anyone that does need help with addiction, we have a hotline you can call. It's 877-309-3635. And we will be back. Actually, Stephanie and John are coming back on another show to discuss even more details about the programs they offer. And if you are watching life change with addiction and feeling that you do need some help, go ahead and call that hotline, and you can speak to somebody that can really give you some input on where you might need to go. And if addiction is stealing your life away, just believe there's another chance.